Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Jennifer's Open Book, where we don't believe in filters.
Okay, I'm gonna go live.
Space. Go live button unavailable. Main region. J Jennifer.
We are live right now. We are live right now. We are live right now. Welcome to the
Now. Red circle. Watch live now. Third eye visions. Doing it in the dark. Attachment.
Stimulate your mind and welcome all kind. And tonight we're gonna focus on that second part, which is stimulate your mind, Craig. Stimulate your mind. What up, Jennifer? What's happening with your girl?
What's going on, Anthony? How are you tonight?
I am feeling good like I know I should because the topic that I have is going to represent everybody in the hood and far in between. You heard me? You know what I'm saying?
So before we get to that, let me let everybody know, because you guys are going to hear Anthony talking in the background. We are collaborating with Third Eye Visions. And if you get a chance, go over and look at that, because he interviews some really awesome people. And he is acting as my coach, and he has been gracious enough to allow me to be his co-host on his show.
Okay, woo! I wish we had some applause. I'm glad to have her. She's a very astute. She's very vibrant. She's all that. But anyway, we're not gonna worry about that, because you know why? We're gonna be doing it in the dark. We're not gonna tell you what that means by the binoculars. We're gonna play on words. But before we do that, on my end, I want you all to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, share, and tizag. Let's tag for the people that's in the area where I'm at. And also tell a friend, because we're gonna be doing some big things. I told y'all once I changed the name, I was gonna elevate and what have you. What you got to say right now, Jennifer?
I want everybody to please subscribe, like, share. I love you. Be my best friend on YouTube like you are on Facebook. Go ahead and hit those buttons and leave me comments. Leave me lots of comments. If you have questions for me and you want me to answer them on my next show, leave a comment and I'll get to you on my next show. If you want to ask me any questions anonymously, find me on Facebook at Jennifer Janelle and send me a message through Messenger. That's JINNERFERJINNELLE. Make sure you spell it right so you can find me.
Okay. Well, Jennifer, we are live right quick. Since we are talking about the topic.
Wait a minute. Before we even get started.
Oh, okay.
Let me give my parents, spiritual and biological, a chance to hit the subscribe button and then go look at Anthony's show.
You know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to say give them a chance, everybody, to get out the room, because it's about to get
I want you to hit the subscribe button on my channel and then go see Anthony, okay? I don't want you to stay around, even though I'm grown. This conversation might get a little bit salacious.
Okay, so, all right.
I need for my parents to leave the room. Granny, you can stay. Grandma, just sit down. Sit down, Granny. But everybody else, I need for y'all to leave.
Granny can learn something.
Granny can stay.
Tell them why it's about to get hot and funky and sweaty and steamy and sizzling, all those words like that. Tell them why.
So, I'm going to tell you guys a secret. It's something that some of you may not know. Are you ready? Blind people have sex. We do. What? We have sex. And some of us have a lot of it.
We're going to find out which ones have a lot of it.
So we're going to talk about sex. And we're not just going to talk about it from a blind person's perspective, but we're going to talk about it from just an overall human perspective. So first, what we're going to talk about are some of the myths. We're going to jump right into that. So Anthony, what are some of the strange things that you hear, or maybe some of your blind friends hear from other people What are some of the assumptions that they make about blind people and sex?
Now, some of the myths that I have heard was like, how you know where the penis goes at? Yeah, how do you know where the penis goes? How do you know what you're doing? What holes are sticking in? I'm like, what? I mean, those are the two main ones that come to mind, and I just tell them if if you use your hands, you don't really gotta see it. I didn't think that you see to do it anyway. What are some of the things that you heard?
Well, something along those lines I've heard. Well, a guy actually, he was amazed that I was blind, and the first thing that he said, this was before he even knew my name. He said, "I bet you when you have sex, you can feel everything." Here's the thing about these kind of myths.
But before you go there, hold on. We want to say, what you mean? What just let's ponder about that. Why do you think he said something like that? What makes you think he said you can feel everything?
So
because you can't see, girl.
That's what I'm getting ready to get into. So the thing about the ones that you mentioned and then the one that I mentioned is that, okay, so people think because we're blind, the rest of our senses are overly stimulated. Mm. And in some cases they are. I could probably hear a gnat fart a mile away or something like that. And I can smell everything. But I don't know about like the sensation of touch. But what I was getting ready to say is, here's the thing about the whole blind thing and sex. I would say that, first of all, most of the time people have sex with the lights off, unless you like to watch. And in that case, you have an unfair advantage. And I'm going to get to that in a second, too.
But before you do that, I'm always before you get to that.
Right.
You don't never let them finish the sentence. Well, why do you think people need the lights on to see what to
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that later.
Go ahead on.
But first, let's talk about this right here.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Go ahead. I love it.
The whole extra sensation. If I were to blindfold you, it wouldn't necessarily be a extra sensation that you would feel. It's the anticipation. You don't know where that person is going to touch you or how that person is going to touch you. It actually makes it more exciting. I don't know if there's extra sensation, but there's definitely some extra stimulation. Okay. So I will say that. As far as knowing where, we are human animals, period, just animals. We have natural instincts. Okay. Plus we use our hands, like you said, you know what I mean? We use our hands, which actually makes it even better if you know what you're doing with your hand and you're not being all clumsy and everything. But
meaning we ain't skating over nothing now.
We talking about everything. Like people can be extra. I mean, even sighted people can be clumsy with their hands. They just feeling around and palming you and all that kind of stuff. You gotta know what you're doing. You gotta make it sexy. You gotta, like, if you can't see where you're putting your hands, you gotta put your hands down and slide them down to where you want them to be and stuff. Don't make it feel like you just, trying to learn Braille on their body or something like that. Just being clumsy. You got to do it the right way. Be slick with it. You know what I mean?
Now, speaking of being slick with it, do you get an anticipation when you are about to touch that very exciting part of a male's organ? Because of the fact that you can't see it one night. So do you get the waiting and the anticipation, like, oh, I'm about to touch this?
Well, see here. Okay, so here's the thing with a lot of people. I'm gonna say me too. It's when I'm touching a man, it's for him. Just like when he's touching me, it should be for me. So I'm getting excited about how he's touching me, and at the same time, I'm touching him not for the stimulation or the sensation, but because I want him to feel what I'm feeling. It's an extra added bonus if I find, because if I'm having sex with you, I find you attractive. But if that body is nice, that might be a little bit extra.
Calm down, because we don't want you to explode on the
No,
while we're doing the show.
That ain't
but
happening.
what you never know. So what is what when you feel a body as a blind person, what is it that is turning you on and that's getting you hot and bothered?
Oh my goodness. So I'm strange. It's like certain parts of so shut up. Certain parts of a man's body turns me on that people might not pay attention to. Like it's not, we'll start here. Not necessarily the way that a man's body feels, but how a man's body smells. And that has a lot to do with pheromones and everything. But the way a man's body smells is nice. That indentation down his back, that leads down to his hips. There's also an indentation in between your, let me see, I want to say in between your stomach and your thigh. There's an indentation there. That part turns me on. Oh my goodness. I love that part. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but I like that part of a man. And all of that is like turning me on before I even, like, a man's junk don't necessarily do it for me. That's more of a tool. So it's not, it's not doing it for me until it's doing it for me. But but just like if the man is cut, I like the ripples in his stomach. But I also kind of like chubby guys too.
Okay.
I like chubby guys too, so he don't have to be cut up. I call him comfortable.
What is it about the smell of a man that turns you on as well? I mean, we're gonna get the descriptions.
Oh my goodness! Wait a minute, how we get all on me? You want to answer some of these questions you asking me too? So we
I will.
Talking about the smell. So, like I said, I do have I have a sensitive nose. I don't know if it has anything to do with me being blind or me being Jen, but I do have a sensitive nose. So I require you to be clean. That is my thing. If you are not clean, if you don't smell good, it's over. Like, I will break up with you over a smell. I seriously will. So your best bet is to shower every day and make sure you are clean. You don't necessarily have to wear cologne, even though I love cologne. I love a man to smell good. Oh my goodness, I love to hug a man and put my face in his neck and just, woo! I love it. But you don't necessarily have to wear cologne as long as you smell clean. Now, there was a scientific study. I don't know exactly how it went, but a man's sweat can turn a woman on. And it has something to do with the release of that male's pheromones. Just because a person sweats, let me say this, just because a person sweats doesn't mean that they have to stink, okay? As long as they're clean, they got on deodorant and stuff like that, they don't necessarily have to stink. So, just like a male smell, and I know the difference between a male and a female, okay? A male smell just is really nice. Now, what about you, Mr. Parker?
What is it you want to know?
I want to know what part of a woman turns you on and what's up with you and the smells.
Okay, well, the part of woman that turns me on is since I am also blind, I love a woman's butt. I like the softness of a woman's skin. I like the smell of a woman, like certain perfumes, like maybe I may be old school, which I am, like Black Diamond, or just any strong sweet smell that's kind of has a loud aroma to it. I like that. I like a woman. The breasts, okay. I'm a breast man. I love legs, but just the softness of a woman and the more passionate she is, the more turned on I get as far as that's concerned. I like deep kissing, and when I'm actually in the actual moment, actually in the moment, I love a lot of talking. I'm a person that's just more of a, let's say, for lack of better words, freaky type manner. Me talk freaky to me, that's a turn on.
So pretty much what we getting at is that we are about sensation. We use the senses that we do have as far as sex goes. Mm. I don't think that there's anything extra about us. We may pay more attention to our partners because we're blind, but I would recommend sighted people to try it. Just pay more attention.
That's true.
Pay more attention.
Now, before I forget, do you feel that let's say you're in a moment of actual having intercourse, and because of the fact that a person can't see, let's say you're having intercourse with your partner is blind, do you think the moment of ecstasy takes a longer time because you're not really able to look in that person's eyes and to read what he or she is doing and to feed off of it, or it's better that the person can see? I mean, have you had that moment? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, there have been times when I was younger that my concentration is not that good when I have it, because I'm concentrating on a lot of things as opposed to just if I were to stare in my partner's eyes and we lock eyes and we communicate in that fashion. You feel what I'm saying?
If you concentrating, you ain't doing it right. The actual action to me is about feeling yourself, feeling your partner. It's all about feeling. It has nothing to do with looking in anybody's eyes or anything like that. And that's just from my point of view. I don't like that. Might help somebody else, but I'm focused on the sensation. That's my main focus. I'm not focused on something that I can't do anything about. I can't look at you. I can't look in your eyes. That's not what I'm focused on. I don't care about looking in your eyes because I can't see your eyes anyway. So if you are focusing on that and it's throwing your concentration off, you're doing it wrong. Stop concentrating on that.
Talk to me. Tell me what I need to do.
Stop concentrating on that. Stop concentrating altogether and just feel. I think that a lot of people's problem in their relationships is that they don't feel. Whether you want to or not, when you have sex with someone, you're giving a part of yourself to them. Some people might be giving more than the other, but you're giving a piece of yourself to that person, and it's a piece that you will never get back. So you don't want to walk away from that action with regrets. So just like, first of all, when you're going into it, make sure that you really want to do it, okay? And when you do go into it, just feel, just allow yourself to feel, and don't like if you concentrate. I concentrate on my homework. I'm not gonna concentrate on this. I want to feel all these sensations. I want to lose myself in the person that I'm with. I'm not trying to concentrate.
So maybe that may have been the problem for me. I mean, now it's good in the hood, but earlier I was like, man, it took me a long time to reach my point of ecstasy and what have you. And I used to think like, man, maybe because we're not able to, because I've heard so much, I'm not able to look in that person's eyes and just be mesmerized and see, just see each other's reaction and get off on that aspect. So I really thank you for that particular piece of advice, because the next time that I engage, I will just concentrate.
Just make sure it's with somebody you really want to be with. And I'm going to tell you, I think men kind of got it hard because men go into it like, am I going to please this one? Men have a lot of pressure on them. And again, you have to be with the right partner when you're doing that, because if you're going into it wondering if you're going to be able to please this person, you are obviously have not gotten to know each other well enough to really like do this. I know you want to, but you don't know each other well enough. And we're going to get into that in a second. There's one more myth that I would like to break right
And
now.
after you do that, we may be on the same accord, but I have one too. But go ahead, you go first.
This myth I have got to break. Blind people do not break. We don't need, like, some of us, it's okay to like make love sometime and do the and this is anybody, again, not just blind people. I'm talking about everybody. Everybody, sometimes people like the soft, slow, being made love to. And some of us like it rough sometimes. We don't break. However, respect our body. This is another instance where you need to know your partner, because I ain't all that bendy neither. So just because I break don't mean for you to try to break. You know what I mean?
Really?
But respect my body.
That's new on me because I never heard that before. But how about this myth of blind people have a very high sex drive as opposed to sighted people? Have you heard that before? Like,
I have not heard that before. I've never heard that before.
But let me tell you one thing. I didn't believe it. But being as somebody brought it to my attention, I dabble a bit on different chat lines. I'm not going to mention the chat lines I have, but there's one that, 89% or 90% of the time, these blind people are talking about having sex. So I don't know. Maybe they did the survey and found out.
Let me tell you why, though. Let me tell you why. Because of what we just got through talking about. In the cases of me saying blind people don't break, a lot of us are left sexually frustrated because we end up with these people who think that they have to be like extra gentle and we're not getting what we need. And that leaves a lot of us sexually frustrated. Also, because we're blind, and I talked about this when we were talking about dating with a disability, because people are afraid to approach us, our relationships are usually few and far between. I haven't been in a relationship in like 4 years, I think. And sometimes that leaves us sexually frustrated. It either leaves us sexually frustrated or, in my case, desensitized. like after a while, I'm like, okay, I'm cool. You know what I mean? Until the next time. And then it's like, where's your off button? But that might have a lot to do with the constant, maybe that's people's release. They feel like they have to talk about it. We're talking about it tonight, but I'm not a big, like, I don't have to talk about it all the time. It does nothing for me to talk about it. You know what I mean? I'm one of those people. I'm a doer, not a talker. And in my case, and I'm just putting this out there, in my case, I really don't want to have sex anymore until I'm with that one that I'm waiting for. I'm waiting on my permanent. I'm sick of like all of these no-nos and boo-boos and giving myself to these men who really don't deserve me. I'm waiting on that one to come and swoop me up. Somebody who's going to love me, respect me. I'm waiting on that one.
Okay. So as she advocates to the males tonight that she looking for her man. Because you're so smooth with it. That's really hard from a male's perspective. It's hard to understand that a female can just cut it off just like that and not worry about sex until she get it to the next time. When she get it, she's an overdrive. So that I had to learn that. I had to understand that and whatnot, because I'm always, I'm always hype. I'm always ready to make it happen. So This was new, and you're not the first person that has said that, but just to understand that how females can just because we go back and forth. It's for all the males to understand and really contemplate the fact that, man, I can't turn it off. You know what I'm saying? Because I gotta have me. So that's interesting if you can turn it off and turn it on just like that, though. But yeah, I had wanted to ask that question because so many people say, man, I hear a lot of blind people always all y'all talk about is sex, and I was like, man, because of the fact that we can't see this, it's pent up frustration. So what better way to let it go than to let it go? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yo, go ahead.
So I want to go into getting to know your partner. I mentioned this earlier because, like you said, you had a difficult time because you were concentrating and everything. And I think that it's very important that when you meet the person that you're attracted to and you get into a relationship, at some point you need to have the sex talk. And the sex talk might actually lead into sex. But and I'm not saying like come right out the gate, like on the first date, hey, how you doing? What's your favorite color? What color panties you got on? Don't do that to nobody. Get to know that person's personality and mind first. And it's important to get to know that person because you don't want to say the wrong thing sexually because some things might set off a bad memory that person had from the past. You don't really know what somebody's been through until you've actually talked to them and gotten to know them. There are so many of us. I know a lot of blind people and people again. I'm talking about people in general, but mostly from a blind person's point of view. I know a lot of blind people who were sexually assaulted when they were younger. They were molested coming up as kids. And it happens to us a lot because we can't see. So people take advantage of that. A lot of us have been raped. And it happens because somebody can rape you. If you're out alone, somebody can rape you and you can't even identify that person. So that type of thing, it happens to people. So before you just try, I've met a lot of men who just go in like I'm ready to have sex with you or whatever, and you like, dude, slow down. Like, I'm not even, first of all, I'm a lady. I'm not even like that. And you, like I said, you don't know what a person has been through in their past. So it's very important to get to know a person before you try to jump in bed with them. We were taught that sex was for marriage, okay? And I'm talking about this now because growing up, sex was a bad word. We were taught that it was a bad word. Only prostitutes gave blowjobs, and sex was a bad word, okay? And then as we got older, sex was for married people. I'm a Christian, and Christians are taught against premarital sex. Realistically, I don't really know anybody who goes into marriage a virgin, okay? For whatever reason.
Not these days, at least.
Yeah, not these days. But I'm gonna say be responsible with what you take in, with what you learn. I had to learn about sex. You are not gonna believe it. I had to learn about sex from a boyfriend that I had and through the show Real Sex on HBO. You remember that show?
Yes, I do remember that.
Okay, so
I was just recently talking about that.
It was so funny how this happened with me. We were flipping through the channels and he like stopped on this show and they didn't like, it wasn't like excuse me, it wasn't like porn or anything. They were just like showing different things that people do as far as sex goes. And I can't see what's going on the screen, but I can hear. So I'm like, what is that? What are they doing? So this was like, it was like midnight. And he was like, go get your jacket and let's go. like, where are we going? He said, just go get your jacket and let's go. And he's laughing the whole time. So we went for a ride across town. This was when I was living in Cleveland. And we went on the west side. The west side had, that was like, all they had was, not all they had, but they were well known for tattoo shops and adult stores.
Right.
So he takes me into this. I have no idea where he's taking me, okay? He takes me into my very first adult store and he walks me around the store and he just started putting my hand on stuff. And I'm like, what do you do with that? What is that? And the guy behind the counter is like bent over the counter, cracking up. He's laughing so hard at me because I have no idea about any of this stuff. I've never seen any of this stuff. I wasn't taught about any of this stuff. They don't teach you this stuff in sex education. What they teach you is that you should wait until you're an adult. If you have sex, please use condoms or you will get like all kinds of like crazy diseases that make you want to throw up when you hear about them. Or you can get pregnant. Like this is what they teach you in sex education. And then your parents, of course, don't want to have that awkward conversation with you. They're teaching the same thing that you're learning in school, but you're not learning about all of the different, you learn about like different ways and all that kind of stuff. You learn that from television and nowadays from the music, and nobody's holding anything back. We grew up like we grew up ladies and gentlemen and kind of whispering about it and stuff like that. Now everybody just out there with it. The songs that's coming out now is just like, I want to F you, take it out. You know what I mean? Like that.
Exactly. Now, as I stop you there, I want to expound on this. What you stated, that because of the fact that you didn't know what a bullet was or things of that nature, that's really a trip, because as far as blind people, we don't see these things. So therefore, by you touching and feeling, you know what I'm saying, it was all new to you. But as a person who can see, they've seen people, if you watch your porn flicks and stuff like that, they've seen people use a particular item, you know, in order to handle their business. But I just wanted to put that out there to say that sometimes we are left in the quote unquote dark when it comes to those particular toys that we can probably use whenever we're not with our partners and stuff like that. So that was a good observation. That was a good story to let people know that the fact that as a blind person, we don't get the full result of what sex basically is about and whatnot, especially, being able to satisfy ourselves with the toys and stuff like that. So I'm glad that you brought up that situation. And then, as far as the music, yes, we definitely having to listen to music and learn. For me, I'm gonna tell you, I'm saying when they're getting into it, I use my imagination. Now, I'm as a blind person, I'm good with that. So I can listen to a porn, which I do not that often as I used to, and actually come to a climax real easy, as opposed to when I'm actually with my partner. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking at, man, it's me and her now. So I guess as I retrospect, it's more so that I'm basically trying to fight to make her satisfied before I finish my job. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's me in a nutshell. I mean, all I got out of you is the So I'm hoping you're not thinking about that guy who you were smelling and touching and feeling and whatnot. No. So overall, I mean, what do you have to say to sum up the fact that the myths that people have stated, or do you have any more that you want to elaborate on, or what have you?
That was pretty much it as far as the myths go. Like I said, talk when you meet that person that you want to be with. Talk to them. Some people are okay on the, I'm meeting you, let's just have sex or whatever, but it's best to know the person that you're getting ready to give yourself to. Respect each other. Definitely respect each other. Talk. Have those conversations. And have those conversations because your partner might introduce you to something that you've never experienced before. And like if you're with that, if that's the person, what I'm saying is you really have to trust the person that you're with. Being blind, you have to trust this person with
true.
your body. So make sure that you're with somebody who you trust. And
so
use your brain.
Hold that. Because I got something for you.
What?
Have you been introduced to anything that you was a bit leery about in the beginning, and your partner has turned you on to as a blind person? Because like you said, that's a very important part. You have to trust your body. So has there been a time when you've been introduced to something like, oh, I like this, or I don't like this? Has there been a time with you?
I have been introduced to some stuff that I didn't care for.
Okay, we're doing it in the dark. These are the people that want to know.
Yeah, I've been introduced to some things that I didn't care for. I'm not going to share it, but I've been introduced to some things that I really like, and I've also attempted to introduce some things that I like to the relationship. The kind of men that I attract are not into the kind of things that I'm into, which made it easy for me to be like, once the relationship was over, once the relationship was over, I was able to like not miss the sex. You know what I mean? Okay. What I'm saying is like you have to be open as far as, like I said, if you're gonna be with somebody, make sure it's somebody that you trust and make sure it's somebody that you want to be with, and try to be open. If you have to, I actually adopted a different personality for my different moods, because I do have different moods. Sometimes I want to be okay. I'm gonna tell you like this. Sometimes Jennifer just wants somebody to make love to her and hold her and cuddle with her afterwards and bask in the afterglow. But sometimes Nikki wants more.
And that's the more that I'm trying to get out of you. What's the more?
You want to know what more is?
We're doing it in the dark.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it PG-13. But I guess we going hard for my first show. So, Nikki, and I think that every woman should have a Nikki. Of course, I got Nikki from the Prince song, Darling Nikki. So, Nikki is a hot girl. Nikki likes it any way you can give it to her. Nikki is into bondage. Nikki is into when I say bondage, I mean like Nikki is into you handcuffing her and spanking her and not just using your hands. What Rihanna say, sticks and stones may break my bones, but chains and whips excite me. So that's Nikki. Nikki doesn't get a lot of attention from the guys that she attracts.
Okay.
But I'm gonna tell you like this: in any relationship, you can be together for years. Okay. Some people, I've talked to people and they say, the relationship is okay, but the sex is really stale. Almost everybody likes vanilla ice cream, but you gotta admit that vanilla ice cream is so much better with a cherry on top and maybe some hot fudge. So what I'm saying is spice it up sometimes. You know what I mean? Don't just, and then like people get into position. Who named the positions of sex? Who decided the names of them? Do you know?
Who named them?
Yeah, who named the positions, the sexual positions?
That's a good question. I ain't gonna lie, but
like people ask me what's my favorite position. I don't have a favorite anything. I say this all the time. I don't have a favorite anything. I like what I like when I like it.
Okay. Before I ask you that question, I would like to thank you for actually commenting, because A while back, you talked about people perceive blind people as being fragile, and I better not put your leg this way. I better not turn you over this way. This just exemplifies, at least we found one blind person that just likes it on the wild side. So, to sum up what she said, don't feel that we are fragile, or don't feel that we're going to break or whatever. We just as freaky as sighted people. And I want y'all to let y'all know that. Now, we're not advocating. We're just, dispelling the myths that people have put out there in the air. So I'm very much glad for you to actually say that. Because
and let me insert here, have sex responsibly, please. If you're going to do it, I'm not telling everybody to go out and have sex. I want y'all to know that now. I'm not telling people to go and have sex. But if you're going to have sex responsibly. Please use protection, okay? If you don't want kids, use protection. That pull-out method don't work all the time. I don't know why I got to say that in 2020. But the pull-out method don't work all the time, okay?
And look at the 20 kids you got.
I have one look, I have one child and somebody gave it to me. Hallelujah.
Okay. That's for another conversation. Y'all can go check that out on what topic was that again?
That was blind people raising sighted children.
Okay, cool. Keep it brisk. But I'm not gonna let you go without talking about your favorite. Take a pause. Because we doing it in the dark. You know I'm gonna stay on you, cousin. That's a down south word. What's your favorite position?
Didn't I just say I like what I like when I like it? I don't have a favorite anything. I don't even have a favorite position. It depends on who I'm with because everybody's stroke is different. Okay, everybody don't have the same stroke. So whereas one person can stroke one way and get the job done, somebody else might have to do it another way. So it depends on who I'm with. I don't want y'all to, don't look. Let me say this too. Don't y'all think I'm promiscuous. This is just something that we're talking about. We having a grown-up conversation. I don't give my goodies away like that, okay? And when you guys leave your comments, I will answer your questions, but keep your comments respectful, please. Because I said that because I get a lot of perverted messages from men when I'm not having this conversation. So I'm asking you to please keep your comments and your questions respectful. Even though we don't believe in filters here, we do have a level of respect. Okay?
That's true. I appreciate that, man. Well, as we conclude, you told me about your position. You told me that blind people are freaky just like everyone else. We've agreed with that, right?
Right.
We're summing it up. We've also talked about the fact that we are not going to break. So if you want her leg to be in the east and one in the west, like Clarence Carter say, that's cool with you, right?
Still respect my body. You gotta respect the body that you have because everybody's not flexible.
If you want to stroke all night long, if you want to stroke all night long like Clarence Carter, you're welcome to do so. Help me out now. Late atmosphere, we live. What else? I mean, it's just the fact that we are humans.
And that's what we're getting at. And that's what we're getting at with our shows. We want you to understand that we are human beings. Being blind has nothing to do with anything. We do what you do. We just do it a little bit differently. And we want you to understand that we are people. We have feelings. We have jobs. We have families. We have sex. We do have sex. We work hard. We play hard. We do us. Oh my goodness, and we have sex. Anthony wants everybody to know that we have sex.
So in summation, that's a word I just made up.
In summation, it's a word because you said it.
Yeah, I like to make, we like to make our words on the fly. So what's coming up next as we conclude this sexual thing? Because you about to make me left and bust.
Oh my goodness!
Not just playing. Right. But what's coming up next on your channel? What you got going on?
Next on my channel, I am going to do a session called "Why Am I Blind?" And the point of my channel is to motivate you. I want to motivate you to do well. I want you to feel good about yourself, because if you love yourself, everybody else will love you. And if they don't love you, who cares? Because you love yourself. So the next session is going to be called "Why Am I Blind?" And I'm going to talk about some of the different things that we go through and the different feelings that we have generally just being blind. And I'm going to give you the answer that I came up with for myself. And hopefully it will help you find your answer and help you find your way, help you just deal with the fact that you can't see, because sometimes that is a hard thing for us to deal with. Even though sometimes you can look out in the world and see that there are some people worse off than you, but sometimes when you get home alone in your zone, you're kind of like, why me? Everybody has those moments, and it's all right. So on the next show, we're going to talk about that. And hopefully you tune in and you get something out of it. And I want my blind family, and I want my sighted family, and I want the world to go ahead, come on in to Jennifer's Open Book, watch us, see what we're talking about. Like I said, we don't have no filters, so what I say may or may not be popular. You may or you may not like it, but I like to motivate people, and I might do it with a gentle maternal hand, or I might take you to the shed with the switch. You never know how I'm going to do it. In the meantime, tune in to my homie Anthony Parker's show, Third Eye Visions.
Okay. Like, share, and subscribe to both channels, man. I'm so glad that I've had the opportunity to work with you on this particular topic and whatnot. So I'm glad that you all were here for the moment to understand where we're coming from, and we've dispelled some of the myths and what have you. So next time, don't come and ask me no crazy question like, I know where the hole is or whatever. No, and because if it's a female, I'm gonna have to show you, dog. And I'm just playing. But anyway,
thanks, Coach.
I want to thank Jennifer for coming on and doing her thing and whatnot. It's late at night. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, 1 o'clock on the West Coast. I just got off from work, and that just shows you how much we want to grind and make this thing happen for everybody and whatnot. So with that being said, I'm out. What about you, Jen?
Well, with all of that being said, Mommy, Daddy, I'm sorry. I love you, but I said what I said, and I meant what I said. We out. Love you.
I can't take it back. Search button, tap list box, tap playlist button. Create new playlist, tap, sign to the Anthony, tap settings button. Content share dash Google Chrome.